Okay, some big stories coming out the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs overnight. The Tampa Bay Lightning are the first President's Trophy team to be swept in the first round. They're done. The Blue Jackets have pulled off what I can only describe as a series win that no one would have predicted. Bearing in mind, the Blue Jackets have never actually won a playoff series, and I think they've only ever won 3 playoff games in their history. Yeah, they've now won a playoff series, and now they've more than doubled their playoff game wins. The Tampa Bay Lightning win the President's Trophy by a country mile, and go into the playoffs miles ahead of any other team on the regular season. But I will say this: what looked like happened with Tampa Bay, you just have to look at the first game of the series when they're 3-0 up, they lose 4-3. For me, I think they went in overconfident. They underestimated their opposition, and there was no intensity to the Tampa Bay Lightning throughout the playoffs. All 4 games, they were lacking in intensity and just generally didn't show up. It was like they expected to win. It was this entitled, we're going to expect to win. I don't know what you. I mean, Tortorella's done something very, very good with the Blue Jackets. When he took over the team several years ago, they had a terrible start of the season. They were the worst team in the league. He's rebuilt this team and got them in now to consecutive playoff appearances 3 years in a row. And now he's got that playoff series win that they've been chasing for so long. But also defensively, they shut down the key players of Tampa. They frustrated Tampa. Tampa reacted. There's been Kucherov's suspension is an example of the frustration that Tampa started to feel throughout the series, but they didn't do enough. And they're not the only team to get swept in the first round. There is another big name team that's been swept from the playoffs by a team that hasn't been in the playoffs for a while. And we'll look at that series in a second. But no, Tampa were decidedly second best on the ice in this series. And I think where it shows like how overconfident they were and how they underestimated their opposition is game 1. Those 4 return, they're 3-0 up and they lose 4-3. That is, I think, where the series was actually won and lost. It wasn't won and lost in the other games. That is where their mental weakness was exposed, and that's where the team was exposed for being overconfident and not playing with playoff intensity. The Blue Jackets have been playing with playoff intensity the whole season. The Tampa Bay Lightning did this last year in the regular season. They were racing ahead with it, and then they eased off. And in the playoffs, they got found out. So there is something on, I think, more of the mental side of their game. Goal scoring is there. The goaltending is there. The defense is there. I think it's more of a mental side and a mental application. But we'll have to wait and see with Tampa. Another playoff series sweep that I wasn't expecting when I did my playoff round 1 preview. The Islanders haven't swept a team since the 80s, since before I was born, and the Penguins have been swept in 4 as well. I think, as I said in my preview, the amount of playoff hockey that the Penguins and Crosby and Malkin and others have played is starting to catch up with them. You know, they went out in round 2 last year. I think the decline of the Penguins is starting. The Islanders, Barry Trotz, he's completely transformed what the team is about. He's basically using the same tactics he used for Washington last year to beat the Penguins. This year, he's obviously done his homework. I think that is a key part of why the Islanders have managed to sweep the Penguins in 4. The Penguins this season at times did also look quite tired as a team. You've got to look at the amount of playoff hockey and regular season hockey these guys have played in the last decade. It is starting to catch up. Some of their key players were effectively strangled by the defensive Islanders because the Islanders, used a trap type system and sucked the life out the Penguins because it was made harder for Crosby and Malkin to get the space they needed to create and score goals. They didn't score many goals in the playoffs. So the Blue Jackets have upset the apple cart with the Lightning, and rightly so. I think the Lightning went in with this era of overconfidence and didn't take the Blue Jackets as seriously as they should. The Penguins, I think, generally and genuinely are starting to feel the amount of playoff hockey is starting to wear these bodies down. Crosby and Malkin, are they past their best? Are they starting to decline? Are they declining as a team? They need to make some changes. They can't not say that they're still good for next year. Look what happened to Chicago. They've quickly declined as a team as well. They fell off a cliff very, very quickly. Could the Penguins be doing the same? That's something to consider. And it's an interesting one. Crosby, greatest player of his generation. Malkin, another great player in this last 10, 15 years of talent that's come through. But the league's getting younger and faster, and they're getting older and slower. And I think while the Islanders don't have necessarily that star player since Tavares is gone, they have a better team dynamic now, and they have a better team work ethic, and they work harder for each other. The Penguins, I think, are nearing the end of their reign at the top, and they're going to have to inject some youth and pace into that lineup very, very quickly if they are to remain a playoff team for next year, because without playoffs, the Penguins struggle financially, and it is, something that they have to worry about going forward. Is if they don't get playoff hockey, they off the ice struggle. So I think the Penguins need to readjust a few things before they actually have to do a full rebuild, because I don't think the Penguins will survive really well with a full rebuild. They need to adjust now and try and promote some of that youth and pace in, make some trades. I don't think it's the end of the world. Tampa, I don't know what to say about Tampa with their shock defeat, but it's left me stunned. I was not expecting this, but you have to look back at game one to see they're 3-0 up, they're coasting against a team they're expected to beat easily, and the opposite has happened. So we'll have to see what Tampa does in the off-season and Pittsburgh. But there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts below on the playoff series that have been swept. There are obviously no other sweeps going to happen in the first round. I didn't predict a single sweep, so my predictions are already out. If you've done a playoff bracket, it's probably already broken. So I'm going to leave that there. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts below, and I'll have some more videos for you very soon.